Inflation hurts. Just ask Stephen Toy. He's back at the wheel of his taxi and trade has picked up. But the strong bounce back in economic activity is creating strong inflation. The price of petrol has risen every month for the last 9 months.
We're going to get squeezed. I've calculated for myself. It's still going to cost me an extra £500 over the course of next year if fuel prices remain as they are now. If they go even higher than they are now, then we could, it could be 600 plus a year extra.
Prices are rising faster than the Bank of England expected, but for now it's keeping interest rates on hold.
Higher inflation is always painful, and that's why we never want to see it. And that's why we've got to get through it, manage it as best as possible, and make sure that it is only temporary.
What makes you think it will be temporary?
Well, we've looked at it very carefully, and we've looked at what's causing it. And we think that the underlying causes of it are ones that should go away.
3 months ago, the bank forecast that consumer price inflation would reach 2.5% this year. It now thinks it will peak at 4%. In fact, the bank now expects prices to rise faster than pay this year and next, causing a squeeze on living standards. Inflation's being driven higher by increased spending as the economy unlocks, by a surge in the price of oil and other commodities, by supply constraints. A global shortage of semiconductors is restricting car production, and by an abundance of vacancies that many companies say they are struggling to fill. The Bank of England is betting that all these inflationary pressures will subside in the coming months. The danger, of course, is that they don't, that higher prices prompts workers to demand higher wages, which in turn feeds higher prices, and so on. There is a risk that the bank will be forced to act to slow the economy by raising interest rates sooner than otherwise expected. As it stands, the markets expect bank rate to start rising at some point next year, but not by much, suggests the governor.
I think by any historical standard, the path of interest rates will be very gradual. But we're living in a world where the sort of what I might call the underlying interest rates are now much lower than they were before. A lot of this is to do with the fact that there's an aging population in the world that is saving more for its old age. And that's not going to change.
The uplifting news is the bank believes that unemployment has peaked and that the economy will have recovered to its pre-COVID size by the end of this year. At some point, it will have to stop creating money and start withdrawing emergency support. When and how smoothly that happens depends on inflation. Joel Hills, News at 10.